hearing him discuss it, I moved off the Antsy position because I wanted Goff re-signed and started feeling confident based upon the way Brad Holmes foreshadowed a little bit of the news of this week. And my take is as follows. Is your guy talented enough to win the Super Bowl with the contract you are paying him? What I mean by that is there are probably, I don't know, maybe a dozen, 15 quarterbacks that in the right situation could win a Super Bowl. And what I mean by right situation is some guys will need a loaded team around them. Others don't. If you have Patrick Mahomes or you have Tom Brady or you have a guy that in his era is the elite guy, that guy can take up more of the cap because you don't need as much around him to win a Super Bowl. If your guy isn't that elite guy, what percentage of the cap is he taking up? And can you build what you need around that quarterback given the percentage of the cap that he eats up? And in Goff's case, the question is, did they cross the threshold? I tried to do a bunch of math on this today.
Oh, boy.
To figure out what percentage of the cap he takes up. And we'll go over the numbers as the show goes on. It's not an exorbitant percentage if the cap continues to rise based upon its typical rate of inflation. Last couple of years, it's moved up like 14% and 13.6%. So I did a conservative 13.75% increase every year moving forward throughout the Goff contract, and you see what percentage of the cap a $53 million cap hit would take up. It might not be a $53 million cap hit. The first year it might be 40, the second year it might be 45, the third year it might be 52, the fifth, and then it might get up to 65 million in terms of cap hit. But if the cap is going up, it's about percentage of the cap, not the actual number. It's the percentage of the cap that's important. I will say this, though, just a little foreshadowing here. The difference between what he will make this coming season, the final year of his contract, he's a $32.2 million cap hit, to the first year of the extension, which would be 53, if it's indeed 53, the difference in percent could cost you Frank Ragnow. Like in the 6% difference. Right now, Ragnow is the closest player they have to 6% of the cap. So that's costly unless you draft incredibly well.
Well, that's a big thing, right?
Yep.
It's all about building the team through the draft, and then you add to the team through free agency and trades. And this is what they've got. They've got players here that, the first two guys are guys they drafted that they gave extensions to. Goff is a guy they traded for, and they're giving him the extension. And the next names are going to come up. These are big decisions. What do you do at the end of the season with Taylor Decker? You're talking about a guy who's a $19 million cap hit this year. If Taylor Decker is going to come back to the Lions, he's not coming back at $19 million. He's going to come back at significantly less.
One would imagine.
Yeah, I'd have to think that. He wants to be here. I think the Lions would like to have him here because there's been success and barring any catastrophic injuries this year. But what is ultimately what is that number going to be? Maybe it's just a part where the Lions part ways and they like the development of some other guys they have. They'll move Sewell over to the left side and boom, here comes new right tackle. But it's not just Taylor Decker. There's Aleem McNeil, who is not much of a cap hit this year. He's $3.4 million, just under 3.4. But Aleem McNeil is a free agent at the end of the year. What is his contract going to be? Do the Lions want to pay him $20 million a year? Because that's what it's going to cost.
Yeah.
So that's another guy that could go by the wayside and be a cap casualty. Maybe that would be the case whether or not they sign Goff. I don't know if that even comes into play. He just may have priced himself out anyway. Yeah.
You can't pay everybody. You want to, but you can't. You have to pick and choose, and they are making their choices now. Does it mean it might cost him Aleem McNeil? It might. You better draft well.
Well, this is where Broderick Martin needs to take a giant step this year, right? Josh Pascal, please take a giant step this year.
Wingo. There's a bunch of guys.
Show me something. Yeah, they've got guys in the defensive line that come pretty cheap. Show me something.